In an era of live services, MMOs, and generally disconnected online experiences, the idea of local multiplayer is quickly becoming a rarity. And while we've seen a handful of great couch co-op experiences pop up here and there, such as TMNT Shredder's Revenge, Overcooked, and even Hazelight Studios' very own It Takes Two, I can't think of anything I've played recently that resonated with me quite like Split Fiction. From its plethora of varying gameplay types, such as a twin-stick shooter, a pinball-inspired puzzle platformer, and in one instance, a hot dog simulator. To its dazzling graphics and believable character dialogue, Split Fiction is looking to not only be another standout title in a year full of promising releases, but something that anyone who's looking for a fun and unique local multiplayer game should pencil in on their gaming calendar.
All right.
In Split Fiction, you play as either Mio or Zoe, two aspiring writers who are chosen to take part in an early test of a machine that'll bring their stories to life.
You can't shut. No!
From what I saw, this plot device not only helps build the world of Split Fiction, but it also provides a perfect excuse to seamlessly transition between its sci-fi and fantasy settings. During the few hours I got to play, jumping back and forth never felt forced or tedious, and while I'm admittedly not the biggest fan of fantasy, unless the word final is attached in some way, I've never found myself getting bored of Zoe's fantasy worlds. This was supported by Split Fiction's well-written and believable dialogue between its characters, which helped convince me that I was watching two real people who are polar opposites interact with each other in their own make-believe worlds.
What were you expecting? We're cyber ninjas.
If you played Hazelight's previous games, It Takes Two and A Way Out, you probably have a pretty good idea of what's in store for you with Split Fiction, a shared multiplayer experience on either the same or a split screen that's full of cleverly designed puzzles that require teamwork and communication, all wrapped up in a nice-looking and well-written package.
There we go.
What sets Split Fiction apart from other couch co-op games is its clever integration of numerous gameplay styles, keeping the experience fresh and, engaging.
Oh, that's rude.
In fact, the variety of gameplay styles in Split Fiction is easily its most standout feature, and during my brief time with it, it was clear that this isn't another standard two-player puzzle beat-em-up experience. Hazelight obviously took its time to refine the variety of gameplay types here because, nothing felt like it was rushed or created in order to add variety for the sake of variety. One standout moment for me was a section where our heroes have to snowboard their way out of an active war zone, which felt more like a blend of Sonic Adventure Battle and SSX than your typical on-rails downhill spectacle. In this moment, Split Fiction introduced a points mechanic, where I had to compete against my partner, performing as many grinds, grabs, and flip tricks as possible while trying to avoid death. While this mechanic has been done before in more games I can count, the fact that this instance is just one of dozens really shows the potential of fun things to do in Split Fiction. That's not to say they're all hits though. One section had us playing a hybrid of a platformer and pinball where I was controlling the ball and my partner was controlling the pinball paddles. This required some precise timing on our ends, and it was a creative way to introduce a slower puzzle mechanic to a game that has a surprising amount of action in it. While I found myself getting a bit frustrated whenever I messed up a badly timed jump, the satisfaction I felt once my partner and I finished any of the campaign's collaborative tasks really elevated the experience.
There we go.
Thanks, God.
And just to be clear, Split Fiction is 100% a collaborative experience that keeps you on your toes throughout. Single player is not an option. But unlike most co-op games where both players need to fight a screen full of enemies or break a bunch of blocks in order to progress to the next level, Split Fiction requires a heavy amount of teamwork and critical thinking from both players in its heavy action as well as its more mellower puzzle sections. Throughout my demo time, I found myself communicating with my partner and working together to try to figure out puzzles and bosses because, refreshingly, Split Fiction doesn't hold your hand whatsoever. That's not to say that this is suddenly a Souls-like in terms of difficulty, but there wasn't a moment where the UI pointed us in the right direction or gave us a hint on what to do.
Oh, you were so close.
Which is kind of the point of Split Fiction and co-op games as a whole, and this definitely made my demo a really fun and rewarding experience.
All right.
Hell yeah.
In a time where every game can either be played solo or is completely full of NPCs, or people online don't really want to talk or interact outside of a few words here and there, myself included, Split Fiction really looks to raise the bar on what a co-op experience can be. I appreciated everything from its interesting use of multiple gameplay styles spanning across many genres to its cleverly written dialogue and beautiful looking worlds. Plus, the fact that it requires you to actively play with someone else and think outside the box to solve its puzzles. And in a year packed with dozens of promising releases, Split Fiction is definitely looking to set itself apart from the pack in a way that few games can.
Whoa, how cool are these screens?
For more on Split Fiction, check out the latest trailer. And for everything else co-op, sci-fi, and fantasy gaming, stick with IGN.
High five!